Hey guys, I know I was going to go live, but I'm really tired, okay? So it's like getting on for, gerbils having a meltdown. I've scared them. It's getting on for midnight, I think. So I don't know what time you'll see this, because it usually takes about an hour to upload anything on this bloody YouTube lately. So I'm really tired. So I went live earlier and I made a little video. So I'm gonna just get my PJs on and watch a bit of TV, Netflix, not anything on live TV, because I don't have a TV licence, because I don't want to fund the paedophiles at the BBC. So before anyone goes, oh, she's watching telly, I'm watching Netflix. So anyway, I'm not watching Cuties, put it that way. I'm watching some haunting thing we're about to start. Just watched the new Twilight Zone as well. That was good. Well, hit and miss, but some were good. I'm into all my sci-fi stuff, sci-fi and horror. So I thought if I do this little video, I'm not letting you down completely, because I'm at least talking to you. Because when people ask if I'm going live and I say I will, I really worry that I've let people down, because that's just what I'm like. So I thought if I do this, then I don't feel as bad. I still feel bloody awful. So hot. The makeup's deceiving. It makes me look not as poorly. I've not got loads of makeup on. I've just got some mascara on. And a bit of powder. That's it really. Went over my eyebrows, because as you know, they're very fair. As many of you will know. They're very light. Just, you can see my green. Anyone that wasn't sure what colour eyes I had, they are green. You can notice it more when I've got my mascara on. I'm getting used to them now. I used to have blue eyes, and when they changed colour I was really upset. But green's my favourite colour, so I should like be happy really. Maybe God did that because it's my favourite colour. Never thought of it like that. Anyway, I'm very tired, as you can tell. I waffle on. Before I go, someone, was it Kate? I think it might have been Kate. I know it's Kathleen now, but I still call you Kate. We were talking about MK Ultra on my Curious Bunny channel. There's a latest video is about MK Ultra and stuff. And she asked me a few questions. I says, oh, I'll talk about it later. So I'll just do a brief, very brief bit about it now, and then I think we'll do a live stream on it, maybe tomorrow night. See how I feel. So the Monarch mind control program was a real thing. So the Nazis were working on it, and then when the war ended, this is the official this is the official line. So this is official now. Again, it might be bull crap because we know they lie. But the official line is that after the Nazis apparently lost, because I'm not convinced they did. Well, look at the EU. Look at old Merkel. Hers related to him. Old Barnier, but not Barnier. The other one. What's the other one called? The other turd. He's related to the Nazis. I forgot what his name is now. The other one that left. Anyway, I'm going off on a tangent. This is what happens. I digress all the time. I'm useless at sticking to subjects. Anyway, sorry. The Nazis were bought over by the Americans in something called Operation Paperclip during the 1950s to continue the Nazi experiments that they were doing, which were just sick. They were experimenting on children, on animals, on disabled people, on everybody really, apart from the ones that they like. The gerbils are up. I don't know if you can hear them chewing. They're so sweet, those two girls. And they took a lot of the scientists over because they didn't want the Russians to get hold of the scientist. Right, that's the official line again, but I think that's bullshit. And they took them over, and they let them continue their research. So the research, the sort of stuff that they did, and this is documented. This isn't conspiracy theory. It was released a few years ago. We've always known, but it was officially released under the official, well, not the official, you know, the Freedom of Information, when after so many years they can unlock certain files, yeah. Excuse me. It was unleashed. So they apparently ended it in the 1970s, but we all know that's not true. So what they would do, they would tap into the human mind, because they know that our psyche as humans, we've got a lot more up there than what we use. So they also wanted to make like super soldiers, and this sounds like conspiracy, but it's not. And the way that they did it, and it's quite disturbing. So if you're easily or moderately traumatized by hearing very nasty traumatic things, then turn the sound off now, okay? So what they would do, that when there was a baby born, okay, what they would do, they would leave it with the mother for the first year. Then they would take it away from the mother, and obviously it would cry and cry and cry, and they were not to touch it. They were to leave it crying, okay? This is the sort of sick things they do. This is what all that glitching was. You'll understand it in a minute. You know, on my other channel, on the video, it's to Kate or anyone who's watched that video, like the movie Get Out, you know, the black guy. So, traumatise the child, and then do that for like 6 months, and then give it love again, so it's all confused. It's about getting hold of the mind while it's still growing. This is the sort of stuff we're dealing with now. But this is what they did. So, by the time it got to 5, it didn't know if it was coming or going. Then what they would do, they would just sit it in front of movies like Alice in Wonderland and The Wizard of Oz. So there was always a lost girl that was going looking for something and could never find it, like going down rabbit holes, which is why they say go down the rabbit hole. The Alice in Wonderland was used a lot during the Monarch mind control program. And what they would do, they would then traumatise the brain by sitting it in front of, first of all, those sort of movies. Then they would sit the child, looking at 5, 6, 7 now, they would sit the child in front of the most horrific things you can imagine. Worse than horrors, like your worst nightmare. Just anything that you can think of that's sick. That's all. I'm not going to say it all, because it's not for YouTube, and it's just not something I want to say. But anything that's horrible, okay? And they would sit them in front of that. And what happens is, when the brain is growing, it's more so as it's growing, when it's severely traumatized like that, the way that the mind copes without just shutting down and dying, which probably happened a lot as well, is the brain creates a alternative reality. It creates multiples. It will create a whole new person, because it can't cope, so it wants to get away. So it creates a new personality. It will often create a new realm, or not a new realm, but a new sort of reality in its head. This is what the Nazis were doing. They were pushing the human psyche to the extremes. So then what they were finding is that these children were starting to create multiple personalities. Now, multiple personality disorder is not this, okay? This is different. This is only achieved by the Monarch mind control program. These children were locked in rooms for months on end. It wasn't physical abuse, it was mental abuse. So, as they were growing up, they were creating these multiples. Have you ever seen a film called Glass? Which is, there's Glass, and there is Unbreakable, and there's that other one. What's it called? Is it the one with the different personalities? You know, have you seen that one? Oh, what's it called? Where it's got like 7 personalities, and the last personality has got powers. because that's what they say we can do. Like the movie Lucy as well, that's touching upon this sort of stuff. The game Resident Evil has got a little girl called Alice, hasn't it? Alice in Wonderland. Okay. So, as they're growing up, they create these personalities, and these personalities are their own person. And what they do, they program certain words into these individuals that can go like that, change. It sounds insane, but this is what the Nazis were doing. Now, they make the perfect soldiers, because if they can flick it so that as they're getting older and they're more grown up, they will end the program, but it's all up here. The damage is done. So they can then put them into a normal situation, so that they can put them into like a family unit or whatever. This was all going on during the 50s and 60s and the 70s, though they say ended in the 1970s because human rights people, but I don't think it ever ended. I think that's what's going on today, but a lot of these celebrities glitching. So I'll go into that in a sec. Sorry. Sorry about that. So, what they would do, they would go into like a normal life, and then let's say if the word, they'd find a word that wasn't a word that was used in every day, or a phrase, usually a phrase, not so much a word, because any word could prop up. So let's say there was a phrase like, I'm just making up now, I don't know, like let the spider out of the box or something like that. So what they would do, they would then ring up the person to activate them. So there could be a totally normal person, didn't have a clue about this trauma. They knew they were depressed and they knew they had shit going on, but they don't remember it because the brain will hide the trauma. But these extra personalities are still in there, and the complete new persons. So they could ring them up and say the words, and they know which phrase will trigger which personality. So let's say if you've trained up one of the personalities to be a murderer, to be a sort of psychopath or whatever, you will activate that personality, and you'll give instructions. Let's say, for example, I'm just putting this out there, but there's been rumours that that's how they killed JFK. So that guy that they got was just a scapegoat. It was not him, but another, or it was him and he was under demonic mind control, or it's somebody else under demonic mind control. So let's just say it was the guy that's supposed to have done it. Is it Oswald or something? Let's just, for example, let's just say he did do it. Okay, what people say is that excuse me, he was activated. Okay, but I say I might not be him, but whoever it was, the rumours are he was activated. So they activate them, and then they give them instructions on what to do. So that personality they've activated will then carry out that duty. Okay, and then when they've done it, when they've finished the activity or whatever they had to do, then they will resort back to their normal personality, their original, and they'll have no memory of any of it. This is what the Nazis were trying to do, and it sounds insane, but the Nazis were pushing the human psyche and the human mind through so much to see how far it can go and what it can take. You know, when something horrendous happens and people say, I don't know how you did that, I just don't know how you did that, but you go, oh, I just did, you just do. Well, if you're traumatised to the point, you just do it, you just get on with it, don't you? The brain can take so much trauma than what you realise. It's like a bit like if you've had like a tough upbringing, and I know it's different, but it's the same in a way. You have a tougher upbringing, you can cope with more. So these children, as children, their brains were traumatised. They would have seen the most horrendous stuff. They were sat in front of a chair, they would be tied down. They would only be given food or water when they had completed so much. You know, I'm talking nasty, nasty stuff, like trauma. They'd make them watch it. There's lots on it. There's a lot of TV shows and movies that touch on this. And once you know this information, it will all make sense. think I'll do a live stream on it because I can pull up some documents as well. But this is just an insight to people that don't know. And I know a lot of you, most of you will know what I'm talking about, but there's a lot of people that don't, especially people in the UK. A lot of us don't realise what the CIA were about. The CIA were just an extension from the Nazis. We all know who the boss of the CIA was when Kennedy got shot. It was old Senior Bush, the paedophile who married Aleister Crowley's illegitimate son, who was then transgendered, aka old Barb Bush. Yep, Aleister Crowley's son. You look at the First Ladies, tell me they're not all men. We all know old Michael Swingy Balls, don't we? Anyway, back to where I was, what I was saying. I told you I'd go off on a tangent. No wonder my live stream's gone for 5 hours. I've been on for nearly 20 minutes and it was only a 5-minute update. Anyway, I might as well just continue now. So then they can activate, and then they do the whatever it is, and then it flips again. So when they arrest the person, they don't have any memory of it. So even upon interrogation, because everybody has got a limit, even the most hardened person will eventually crack if you're being tortured. Okay, so this is a charger, you can see. My phone was dead. So in case you're wondering what this is, I'm not plugged in, I'm not a robot, it's my phone. So they don't remember it. So if you torture or you interrogate somebody to the point where it's damn sight sick and evil, and they still say, I didn't do it, right? There's a good chance that they have been put under Monarch mind control because they don't remember it. It does, and also there's parts of our brain, as you know, we don't use a lot of it. Apparently we do use more than what we're told. We don't just use 10%, we use more than that. That's just what they tell us. But there's a lot more to our brain, and the brain is these personalities. You can actually create a super strong, like in that movie, what was it called? There was Glass. Was it Seven? Not Seven. With the multiple guy, and there was like 7 or 8 personalities, and it was the go on, sorry, I just had a notification. Anyway, there was different personalities. One was like a teenage boy, it was a man, and one was like a woman. They can put on different ones, different genders, but the last one was a beast. It was called the Beast, and he would literally physically change. He would become stronger. He would become the power of like a werewolf or something, and he could literally walk on the ceiling. And this is the sort of stuff that they were looking at to create. He was so strong, and if you got the Beast personality, you were dead. He would literally rip you in pieces, and each personality would be scared of the baddie one. This was in a movie, but this they tell us in movies. You've got to remember that they tell us in movies and in TV shows. They reveal these things. This is really annoying. Has anybody recently got Amazon? I think this Paz got Amazon. Paz, have you got Amazon? Have you watched that Utopia? There's a thing on Amazon. It's just come out, and they've redone Utopia, which was a British show originally that I never watched, and an American. That show, it's that close to reality right now that they have to put a disclaimer at the beginning of each show saying to people, this isn't real, this is science fiction, though it's exactly like what's going on. You've even got a Bill Gates figure with his vaccine. who was putting the virus in the vaccine. I don't want to ruin it for people. Yeah, you've got the mind control program. You've got his people, his killers, his trained killers who come through the Monarch mind control program, who were completely traumatized. You've got that. You've got vaccines, conspiracy theorists. You've got to watch it. It is so unreal, and I actually felt like Amazon were trolling the evil people on that one. I felt like they were revealing a lot to us, and it did feel like they were, that must have been really winding the elites up, because they were so, it was to put on there at the beginning of each one, it come out like a spoof, like, this isn't real, these events aren't real, for, like, you know, because it was just like watching there was even crisis actors in it and stuff. It was just so obvious. Anyway, so there's lots of stuff about mind control, and the video that I put out on my Curious Bunny, the last video that's on there, that's showing these celebrities glitching. So what happens is, when you traumatise the brain that much that they have these different personalities, they can glitch. And when they glitch, they have to be reprogrammed. They have to go back into, when they say they're going into rehab, they're going for the reprogramming. A lot of them, and I know this is difficult to believe, they are transgendered, okay? And then they will be given a personality to suit that gender. So, for example, Britney Spears, quite often, with her meltdowns, she's glitching. So she, who I believe was transgendered, when she shaved all of her hair off, that was her saying, I'm a boy, I'm a boy. And then they go in, then they have their reprogramming done. And that's what that video, if anyone that's watched it and didn't understand it, watch it again after what I've said. That's what they do. And that's why they'll suddenly be talking and they'll just do that. That's a glitch. Okay, I'm not glitching because I'm just doing it to show you, but you do that. Glitch. Because the brain can't process all the personalities, yeah. And this is real stuff. This isn't me making this up. It was called the Monarch mind control, and they would often use butterflies to show to butterflies linked to it, because you would then go into a cocoon and then you would come out as something else. So they would use butterflies as well. It's a symbol of mind control, and if you look how many butterflies are in these movies, butterflies everywhere. It's part of the mind control program that the CIA allegedly, well, they say that they got rid of. So I didn't mean to waffle on, but that's what that is about. Okay, if I go live tomorrow night, if I get time, I'll try and pull some documents up to show you, but I am just too tired tonight. I'm going to watch a bit of TV, watch that haunting thing, what else, get my pyjamas on, my PJs. If anyone's got anything to add on the mind control thing, or if anyone's got any questions, I'll answer it as best I can. I have been researching it for a couple of years, but there's always things I'm going to learn. But there's more to it, but that's the basics of it. So if you haven't already watched that video, it shows them glitching. And I'm going to get people saying, why do they do this? Well, experimenting was what the Nazis did. So they were pushing for a super soldier. You think about the perfect soldier. If they could tap in and create a beast or a really super strong personality who's capable of pretty much anything, has had zero empathy, and is a sociopathic psychopath, okay, who then can then be flipped and not remember what they've done. Perfect assassination, you know, for assassinations. That's what they think did the Vegas shooting. He was another one. He'd been programmed to do it, and they get them as children, and that's why a lot of children go missing in America. They're not all kidnapped and given to paedophile rings and Satanists. A lot of them go into this program, the Monarch mind control. probably call it something else now. So that's what I was going to talk about tonight. That's what I've given you a brief. I hope I made sense with what I've just said. It's awful. It's just horrible. There's usually a song as well they associate. They'll be played the same song over and over repetitively for days, weeks, months on end, until just hearing that song causes severe trauma in real life, that they flip and bring out another personality. But now you know what it is. You notice it in films like Get Out was a classic one that showed that. There was another one as well, and I can't remember what it was called, but there's loads where you'll get mind control. You know, it's like what the Helter Skelter group were doing in Laurel Canyon in the late 60s and the early 70s. This is another thing that intrigues me. The CIA had a base right near where Sharon Tate was murdered and Charles Manson had his cult. Now, I believe that they were victims of the Monarch mind control program, and they were programmed. I don't think Charles Manson he didn't actually kill anybody, and I don't believe that he was knowingly involved in that. I think he was a Monarch mind control victim. So his mother didn't want him. She was a horrendous mother. She was always pissed, and he sort of dragged himself up, went into prison, come out. He's perfect for them. You know, he's messed up. No one's going to miss him. Drag him in. You know, there weren't all babies that went into it, but they preferred the babies to traumatise the mind. Anyway, I'm too tired now. So I hope that makes sense to anyone that's interested. If you're not interested, or you already know this stuff, I'm very sorry for boring the hell out of you. And I think we'll do a live on that one. So let me know in the comments if you're interested in doing a live stream on this. And also thank you to everyone that's bought me a cup of tea or a cup of coffee. The link's in the description. Finbar, I think Kate, is it Kate? But and Dana, and there's been some others from before that I've said thank you to. Thank you. It's really kind of you. It's just something that's nice, you know. Thank you to my Patreons. Really appreciate everything you're doing. I've managed to order a t-shirt. I just need to the drawer, but I've managed to order myself one so you can see it. And then I can do the drawer with that one, and then I'll probably put them on sale as well if anybody wants to buy any. But that's another video. So I hope that makes a bit of sense. There is a playlist in my playlist section on this channel with a little bit in about MK Ultra. But when you hear the term come up now, you'll know what it is and so on. But it's very interesting. Something that's linked to so much more than you think, like the Manson murders. You know, it's linked to Sharon Tate. Roman Polanski wanted her murdered because she didn't want to sacrifice the baby. And if you go back and watch my Rosemary baby video from a few months ago, it's about her in there. So everything's linked up. Everything, if you connect the dots, all of it makes sense. Anyway, guys, you take care, and much love. Bye.